Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off, online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, 20 takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, and with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and in today's episode, we have a very special guest, current professional goaltender and current Army officer, Parker Gahagen. Parker is currently playing in the AHL with the Colorado Eagles right now. He is currently in his fourth year playing professional hockey, where he spent last season with the Evansville Thunderbolts in the SPHL, Newfoundland Growlers in the ECHL, and Toronto Marlies in the AHL. He also played 4 years of college hockey at West Point for the Army and is now an officer in the Army. And he's also playing pro hockey. So it's going to be a great episode. So welcome to the show, Parker Gahagen.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how have you been? No problem about having you on. It's gonna be a blast. But like, how have you been? Like, what's going on? Like, you're in the season right now, so how's that going?
It's good. I mean, each day is always fun. Just being able to get to the rink and compete against those guys, and it's nice being able to travel around, be able to play. I mean, especially in COVID times. So, it's pretty thankful to be able to practice and compete with the guys on the team, and just it's been a blast. Just got back from Austin a couple days ago, so nice to be able to travel around a little bit as well.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And just you're going to Vegas this weekend, right?
Yeah, I think it's Wednesday or Tuesday we leave, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's always fun in Vegas, especially when you're playing hockey, and just the whole Vegas atmosphere is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're pretty like limited on what we are allowed to do on the road, but I think just kind of being able to get away from Colorado, like with your teammates, be able to like hang out with everyone is it's good for the team morale and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to start this thing off with like a little background information on yourself. So can you give us a little background information, like when you started playing hockey, what made you become a goaltender? Like, what was your first real moment where you're like, I want to be a goalie?
Yeah, I think I started playing, I'd say around five. It's usually just start with like house hockey, kind of alternating through every position.
Yeah.
And then I think towards like once the house hockey season got to the playoffs, it was kind of the decision was made for me that I was playing goalie. So, I basically ended up winning that championship and then winning another house championship the season after, and then playing travel after that. But I guess the initial goalie decision wasn't really my decision at all, but I stuck with it, and I think it's definitely a fun position to play, just with kind of everything that rides on it as well. And yeah, it's just a very unique position, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of championships won apparently. So it's always the best feeling when you're winning those championships, no matter what league.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to get into your junior career a little bit here. So like, what was that process like to find a team in the OJHL for the Buffalo Junior Sabres? Like, did you attend like a main camp, like get a tryout, get called up from somewhere? Like, what was the process to play to play in Buffalo?
Yeah, so since I'm like from Buffalo, originally, I kind of knew most people around the community, and yeah, I was kind of like in between deciding whether I wanted to like go to college, play like baseball, or to continue playing hockey. And basically, one of the people I knew, Coach Ledyard, he like basically, I don't want to say forced me, but he he definitely motivated me to go and try out for him. And ultimately, it was basically, I'd say it was his doing, where I was able to, I mean, obviously I had to have the qualifications to be on team, but he definitely motivated me to try out and, kind of go for that route. So once I attended the camp, then I made a team, and, spent a couple of years there before continuing on. But it was great being able to kind of stay at home and, be able to play. But I think 2 years was enough of junior hockey. I was starting to get, a little bored, and, you can only play so much hockey before you're like, you run out of do. So I think it was time for me to move on from juniors to college.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you play baseball while also playing hockey before going into juniors, right?
Yeah, I think for maybe like the first summer after juniors, I was still playing, but I think that's when I decided it was time, and just put forth all my effort into hockey.
Yeah, were you? Yeah, for sure. Were you like a multi-sport athlete, like trying like all different kinds of sports when you were younger, or was it just baseball and hockey?
Yeah, it was literally just baseball and hockey, but I was able to have success in both, and I guess maybe that helped, just sticking to two rather than a multitude of them.
Yeah, for sure. I was pretty much the same. Baseball and hockey was my go-to, and just you like during the summer it's baseball, during the fall and winter it's hockey, and like you're never off. You don't technically have an off season because you're playing sports in every season. So it's fun, but it's you learn a lot too from playing both sports. And like what did you learn from playing both sports that helped your game, like either in baseball or hockey or in both?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about just kind of staying present. I mean, in baseball, you might have like a good at bats, or even like one pitch to another. There's a call or something that you don't agree with. Maybe it was like a little bit outside, but the ump wasn't watching or something. So it's just kind of, I think it ultimately comes down just controlling what you can control. So, and just like trusting your game, really. But I mean, as far as, they're both like very team sport oriented. So, as a goalie, I can't score. So it's kind of just like focusing on, making the saves, and, trusting that team will do their job as well. And then in baseball, only playing one position. So you have to, hopefully the pitcher, outfielder, they'll catch a fly ball. So, there's only certain things you can control, and it's definitely not, it wouldn't behoove you to worry too much about what others are doing.
Yeah, and it's always the worst when you strike out and the ball's up at your head and they call it a strike three. Like that's always brutal, but you still got to stay calm, cool, and collected, and like stay like in your game and not get over your head or under. And just in both sports, like you got to stay calm, cool, and collected, and just even keel the entire time, because if you don't, like you're gonna mess up in one way or another.
Right. Yeah, especially goalie really do that. I mean,
yeah,
you can't really focus.
It's the worst when that happens.
Yeah, you just kind of have to let it go.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to the juniors a little bit, like you seem like you're the guy right from the start of your junior career. It's like, what was it like coming in right away and playing in 38 games and 8 playoff games your first year of juniors?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a learning process. I mean, especially just going from high school into it. And I think it was just kind of understanding the game, and then just also just developing, because every level you go up, there's the guys either get better in some way, or the game gets a little bit faster. So just being able to adapt. And I was fortunate to have my goalie coach in high school he actually like followed me to my junior team as well. So it was nice to kind of have that community and that that sense of normalcy, I guess. So that definitely helped with the transition. And then also, I think just being in like a town, and then also there's guys on the team that I knew as well. So I think just kind of having that familiarity around the rink helped as well.
Yeah, just being comfortable with the guys you're around, especially like your goalie coach came from your high school team. So like you were already comfortable with him and knew what he was doing and that it was going to work. So that's always good. And then, some guys on the team, so it helps you gel together a little bit more. It's always a good sign, good thing when those like three things are within your power. Just like, the people, you trust them, and you're comfortable with everyone.
Right. Yeah, trusting the coach is huge. And
yeah, exactly. So like, what was the biggest thing you had to learn? Like, if you were going to be the guy, like, what would you do? What would you have to do to be successful in your junior career and develop throughout your career into the pros?
I think maybe just like preparation. I mean, just kind of understanding. I kind of use practice as basically my time to kind of face all the difficult shots and, kind of really push myself. And then when it comes to the games, it's really just about kind of just letting all that go and then just kind of enjoying the ride. I mean, just kind of letting all your hard work that you put in throughout the week just, basically come to fruition. So, and then just not really worrying about the result, but just kind of trusting in your preparation and then just going with it.
Yeah, exactly. And just trusting what you've been putting in, like you're just preparing for the game, and just knowing that what you're doing off the ice is also going to help you. Like having like that trust is super important as a goaltender, and just like you need that to be successful. Because if you don't trust what you're doing, then are you going to trust what you're doing in the game situation? Like, is that going to help you or is that not going to help you?
Right. Yeah, most likely won't help you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then going into your second year, you also were a very big part in your team. You played 53 games with playoffs as well. It's like, how much of a grind was it for you to play even more games your second year than your first? And like just that process of like knowing what you're doing is helping you get to the next level.
Yeah, I think, I'd say the first year was definitely a grind. I mean, a team definitely got better over that from the first to second year. And then also, I also was able to, kind of understand exactly what I needed to do to be more successful. So, so it's definitely a bit more of a grind, going to playing that extra 15 or so games. But at the same time, the team was performing better, and I think my stats were better and stuff. So when things are going better, it's, not as stressful or not as hard on you, I guess.
Oh yeah, we love that as goalies when your stats are good and your team's good. Like those are the best times that you have as a goalie. And just even though like if you're on like a worse team than you are than a good team, you still get like the reps in, and like it helps you develop for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely have to take positives out of every situation. So yeah, I guess I exposed you to more shots, and you get more comfortable with getting more shots.
Yeah, exactly. So like throughout like your time in juniors, like what have been some of your favorite memories of junior hockey?
Probably just playing. I got to play in the All-Star game that second year, so it was kind of fun. Be able to go there and then just kind of play with the best players in that league, and be able to hang out there for a week. So probably that, and then just I think honestly being able to stay at home and be able to kind of spend more time with the family and be able to kind of be with I think in a place that's familiar is always nice. But I think by the end of it, I was ready to get out of there.
Yeah, and that support system's huge as athletes and hockey players, especially like in all sports. Like you need that like security, and that like you can just go to whoever, like your family, your friends, if you have a bad game, or like or if you're just lost, like just go to them and just talk, and then take a break from the game for like a day or two, and then come back and refresh, and you're ready to go. And it's nice to have that security within your friends, and that you're able to just trust them.
Right.
So then going into like playoff hockey a little bit here, like what was playoff hockey like in juniors, especially in Buffalo? Because that's a hockey city right there.
Yeah, obviously there's many teams in Buffalo, but I think definitely going from that first to second year, we kind of gained more fans and more of a following. So, and we were in a position where we played more home games since we had won more games that year. So, so anytime we were able to play at home, especially that second year, we had a good crowd, and it was at one of the local public rinks, so it was very accessible, and it was a great environment, and definitely, I guess it definitely amped up a little bit during playoffs, but I'd say even over the course of the season, it was a pretty solid showing.
Yeah, you love playing playoff hockey because it's a whole different breed. When from the regular season to the playoffs, it's a lot more of a grind, and in any league, in any level, like it's a whole different game.
Yeah, everything gets a little bit tighter, and guys, it's nice for goalies. Guys usually start playing more defensively, which is nice. But
yeah, we like when that happens for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then after your last season of juniors, you decided to attend West Point Academy. So like what went into your decision to go to West Point and think about going into the Army?
Yeah, it was first introduced to me by my coach at the time. It was Mike Pekka. He was the coach of the Junior Sabres, and he first introduced the school to me, and then they recruited me from one of my games. So I had to look them up. I think initially I didn't really know much about the school, but as I looked into it more and kind of understood what I'd be getting myself into, it became more appealing. And I think it was really just the challenge of it, and I've always been one to kind of appreciate like history and everything. So it was kind of cool being in a place that was so historic, and I think I was just really always trying to like better myself and just improve in whatever ways I can. It seemed like a great opportunity to do that. Hockey wise, there seemed to be a good opportunity to go there and play. And then also just from like a personal standpoint as well.
Yeah. So did you always plan into going into the Army, or at least try, or like was it first brought up with your coach, like you said?
Yeah, no, it was first brought up with my coach. I think between Army, the other schools I were considering were like, Canisius was there, Union, but I think just with West Point, it was more, I hadn't heard of it before somehow, even though it was the same state, but I guess it's the other side of the state. So maybe that's one of it. But yeah, as I looked into it more, I started to became more appealing, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's because it was on the other side of the state, but you ended up there. So like going into your first year of college, did you have like any expectations for college hockey or being at an Army academy?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely that first year is definitely tough. I mean, not only balancing, having to adapt to like a higher level of hockey, but also just kind of getting in the rhythm of doing the Army stuff as well. I mean, we had to do like basic training over the summer before that first year. So you're not really like, you're not playing very much hockey. So that first semester was definitely tough just from, a standpoint of having to basically adjust to multiple things. Yeah, and there's just like, especially with West Point, there's a lot of distractions, so you have to kind of be able to compartmentalize a little bit and be able to kind of block stuff out and focus on hockey when you're at the rink and school and Army stuff when you're not at the rink.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what was that first summer like before you actually got into the school and just doing like all the Army stuff and not being able to play hockey as much? Like, what would you do to like help yourself prepare? And then like, what would you do to like help yourself prepare to go into the Army?
Yeah, so the summer before, I mean, it was like basic training, so we were basically just like ran through some basically just some stuff to basically get us, like we would go to the range and do some other stuff, like we do like marching, and I don't know, there's like a variety of things we would. It was 6 weeks long, so there's a variety of stuff we would do over that. But I think it was tough to really prepare for hockey kind of when you're going through it, so it was more so just kind of going through the rhythm and process of it. And then I think the biggest part of it was just understanding that it was, you're being led by just like upperclassmen, so it's kind of understanding their perspective as well. And it's kind of something they have to get through. And and just kind of getting the big picture of it rather than just kind of focusing on what you can see, I guess.
Yeah, so like, how was that? Like, how are the upperclassmen and like helping you guys prepare and like be there for you guys and just like and like being like how supportive they were? Like, did you find like you transitioned easier than you would have if you didn't have them?
Yeah, I mean, I think having them. Well, do you mean the upperclassmen on the hockey team, or yeah? So,
Yeah,
or in general?
just let's go both general and in hockey.
Yeah. So I guess in hockey they give you like a little bit of foresight into what to expect, but I guess during the summer, unless they're actually there for as like a leadership detail, then you really wouldn't see them all that much. So I mean, you have like your other teammates within your same company, I guess, over the summer. So you could basically talk to them when you're able to and kind of share stories. But as far as the upperclassmen, you didn't see them very, very much during that summer. So you're kind of loners a little bit, kind of had to figure it out for ourselves. But I think going in there like a little bit older, kind of understanding, just having the maturity to kind of take a step back and kind of understand what's going on definitely helped. So, yeah, I'd say like the upperclassmen that weren't on the hockey team. I mean, there were definitely some people that were better than others at kind of helping you through the process. But overall, it was a good experience, but one that I'm good not reliving, again.
Yeah, and at least you got some help and like they helped you when they could. So at least you didn't have to go in just in the water without anything.
Yeah, they give you some fins.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you played 4 years of college hockey for Army. So you played 16 games your first year. What was that first year like playing college hockey and trying to like balance everything?
Yeah, honestly, it was very difficult. That was a tough year, especially that first semester. The team wasn't very good, I guess, and then also like just that adjustment process. I mean, your freshman year at West Point, you're like, I wouldn't say you're just treated, like you don't have as many privileges, I guess, as a freshman. So, So you kind of have to balance that as well. And so that's kind of a distraction. And then obviously having to perform well at hockey, given those distractions and being on a team that's subpar, I guess was definitely a difficult year. But then I think, going forward to like my sophomore year it was better because we had like 5 or 6 guys in our class. So that's 6 guys that are now in a better position. And they're given more privileges and everything. So they're able to kind of focus a little bit more on hockey and kind of separate themselves from the Army and school stuff. So, I mean, especially the school stuff could be a distraction as well, because they have like this Thayer method, which they basically expect you to kind of learn the material before they teach it to you. So it just requires like a little bit extra work, which is the point of it, but it's also, more time consuming.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, like what was your mindset like throughout all this and just having to like work through everything, and just especially since the team was subpar, like you said, and then also having to like balance everything else? Like what was your mindset, and like especially when like things didn't go your way, like what would you do to help your mindset stay positive?
Yeah, I mean, we had some pretty good resources. They had a sports psychologist that I would go to often, Doc Z or Dr. Zinzer. He's a great guy, but I mean, he definitely helped me out a lot. Just be able to focus on, like the things we could control, and just kind of focusing on the positives. Because like, if you're a goalie, it's easy to recall the goals, I guess, they're scored on you, but it's more difficult to kind of focus on the great saves you made. So it's kind of that concept, and not only in school, but not only in hockey, but in school as well. So if you go to one class and you bombed a test or something, you got to be able to leave that behind and move on to the next one. So I think kind of going from, because I think I really started utilizing him and just other resources more towards the end of that first semester. So I think things started improving as I started using those resources. But at first it was, I mean, you're just given like a bunch of work, and you kind of had to figure out, basically your priorities. Like I couldn't go to sleep at a normal time if I was trying to complete all this work I was given. So kind of figuring out what you needed to do, and then also getting in a routine, maybe like doing all your homework or something the weekend before, or something like that, just to free up more time.
Yeah, for sure. You're getting an early start to the school week before school week even starts. Like I do that a bunch, and it's not fun, but you get less homework over the week. So I guess that's one way to look at it. And then it's crazy how like as goalies, like we can remember like the goals we give up, and like I could go back to like a month and still see like all the goals, how they went in. It's crazy. And like you don't pick out the good saves that you had, and like it's wild how we can just see the goals that we give up and not see the saves that we made that actually like should boost our morale than anything else.
Right. That's kind of why I had to make the extra effort to remember the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So like going into your sophomore year, you played in 25 games with a 2.83 goals against average. So like, what was that second year like for you, especially as the team started to get a little bit better and you had 6 guys in your class? Like, what was it like having that familiarity and just being able to go on from like your first year?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely more of a kind of relief, and you had a little bit better of a routine. So I would say it wasn't as much of a grind, I guess. And I think that first year, I mean, I think it was really just a battle with like the culture there. It was definitely a losing culture when we got there. So it was a process to kind of get guys believing, that we're going to win every time we went to the rink or played a game. So it was definitely like that's not fixed overnight, obviously. So It was definitely a process, and I think we were still in that process my sophomore year, so it wasn't perfect at that point, but it was trending in the right direction. And I think that, it definitely helped with, our class or my class, being sophomores at that point. And, I felt like we really tried to ourselves and the juniors and the upperclassmen. I think we really tried to get the freshmen in a normal mindset. Cause I think those are the guys that are going through the worst of it. So I think you kind of have to make an extra effort to make those guys as comfortable as possible. And I think that was kind of what we learned and what we started implementing, our sophomore years and on through my time there.
Yeah. So did you like find like everything got like a little bit easier after you started getting used to everything, like your responsibilities and having to balance everything, especially through your sophomore year and on to junior and senior year?
Yeah. As a freshman, like you have to, there's many distractions just because people are, I don't know, it's not like people are out to get you, but there's definitely some rules that you have to take into account every time you're not at the rink. So it can just be a little bit of a, mental exhaustion, I'd say, just because like as freshmen, you're not allowed to talk outside unless you're with like an upperclassman. You're supposed to, hold your hands in fists when you're walking. So it's just like small stuff, but it adds up when you're, just if you're going through a tough day or something, then
then it's tough to do all that and remember all that.
Yeah, it can just be a grind, and having to go through that every day, you're not really able to kind of relax. So being able to going into that sophomore year, you're able to sit back a little bit more, relax, and kind of not be looking over your shoulder all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like over the summers, like during like going from freshman to sophomore to junior, like what did you have to do over the summer for Army training? And just like was it a lot easier than like your first year going into it? And like were you able to play a little bit more hockey and train for it, or was it still pretty limited?
So I guess my sophomore year, I had about 4 weeks of training. So it left like a little bit more time for hockey, but the training itself wasn't, that first year was more just kind of like orienting yourself to, really to the Army. So there was like a lot of like briefs and stuff like that. So there's stuff that wasn't as fun, but that sophomore year, you're doing like a lot more stuff because West Point's like, there's a huge forest right there. So you're doing like a lot more stuff outside and, more field exercises. So it's definitely pretty exhausting still, but, at least and we're still in like the same company with your teammates and other sports teams. So kind of going through that with people that you enjoy makes a huge difference. So, yeah, it was definitely that summer, like wasn't as straining, I guess, as that initial summer. And, even within that, you have more privileges. Like that first summer, when you get there, you don't have access to your phone or anything. So, as opposed to that second summer where you have your phone, it's just, obviously when you can use it, if you're, if you're on like if you're just camping around for 3 days, obviously you're not going to have your phone with you, but that's a big difference as opposed to, being without your phone for 3 weeks or something. So.
Yeah, for sure. So then going into like your junior and senior year a little bit here, like what was it like getting more and more games each year to help your development, like help you get thrown into the fire to be successful in the long run and develop your career even further?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with my junior year was I had Ryan Halls. He came in. He's like he became our goalie coach, and I think things just like instantly clicked with him. I think you have plenty of goalie coaches, and obviously value their advice, and they've gone through their own experiences, but there's just I don't know. I guess some guys just click with you better than others. You know, it's like your mindsets align more, I guess. So Ryan was he's more of like an analytical type. So he just kind of helped me to understand, you know, just I think the biggest thing was just understanding how much of the net you actually like take up, like and how little there how little room there is for guys to get it past you. So I feel like just understanding the mindset that of just like kind of controlling your positioning and just even the percentages of all the shots and what makes, you know, some shots more difficult than others. So, but I think just having him come in, he really made a huge difference in my game. And, you know, I think my first 2 years there, I didn't really have, we had a goalie coach, but he wouldn't be there every day. So having Ryan there every day and, you know, having our mindsets align really helped me to improve pretty drastically. So, and I feel like he really believed in me as well. So I think just kind of having that, that support system and like, I guess he believed like that I was like, I mean, I think he believed like I would play professionally and it like wasn't on my radar. So kind of having, it's kind of like having like a huge, or like a high end goal, I guess, you know,
Yeah.
that's obtainable, but something to strive for. So, so I think he made a huge difference in that junior year for me. And then, you know, we had some coaches. I mean, we had Zach, we had the McKelvey brothers who were great. I mean, they both played professionally. And, you know, Coach Riley was always our anchor, the guy that's always been there and knows what we go through. So, so I think everything just really started coming together that year. And, you know, I feel like they've pretty much since then, Army's been a pretty solid team and it's good to see, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And just whatever you guys were doing was working because your junior and senior year, you put up some very impressive numbers and you're named NCAA second all conference team for 2 years and NCAA Low's senior class All-American second team your senior year. So like how much did those awards mean to you and just getting that honorable mention?
Yeah, I think honestly, what I remember most is the statistical champion one with the lowest or highest save percentage. I mean, that's, I think just being able to have that compared, because you're like, I mean, that's a universal. It's going against everyone, you know, in the NCAA. So it's, I don't know. I feel like that was a huge accomplishment. That's something I could always draw back on for confidence, but also getting the, you know, the recognition, not only from, you know, just from the league, but also, you know, within the Atlantic Hockey Conference, but also throughout the entire NCAA was definitely, you know, something I could always draw back on and, you know, be proud of. But yeah, I think anytime you get recognition, it's fun. Like it always adds to your confidence, obviously. So, so I think that was something that was nice, especially my senior year. It's like, I feel like it was easier to get accolades like once your name's out there.
Yeah.
So, you know, just getting, you know, whether it was like the Richter Award or the senior class award, like there was always something I was on the list for. So it's like you're always you're always feeling good.
Oh yeah, confidence booster for sure.
Yeah. So those 2 years were definitely pretty fun.
Yeah, 100% there. And just like you love when you get awards and like it just makes you feel so good, especially that confidence. Like and I bet it made you play better too.
Yeah, and I think it was also very rewarding, just from like a team perspective as well, just because it's anytime you go somewhere like I feel like you want to make it better than when you got there. And just every year kind of seeing that progress and seeing the team just make huge strides. It was definitely very rewarding in that aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So then going into your pro life low here. So after your senior year, you got the chance to play professional hockey, or you were able to play 5 AHL games for the San Jose Barracuda. where you went 2-2. So like, what was your first taste of pro hockey like the year after you got out of college? And like, what was that feeling like playing your first AHL game and getting your first AHL win?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely difficult because like that summer before I was able to play for San Jose, I was like doing Army stuff. So because at the time you had to do like 2 years of active duty service before you could like even pursue playing professionally. So the summer before I was doing Army stuff, and then even into that fall, like I wasn't able to get there until around Halloween. Um, like even it was kind of funny because like when rookie camp is that first week of September, I was doing an Army school, and I basically just took a week off from the training to go to rookie camp, and then I went right back. So uh, but up to that, I mean, I had just been skating like every other week as much as I could, but obviously wasn't. It was just finding the competition, whatever competition I could around me. So it was definitely tough going into that, and then getting there kind of like a little bit late in the season was a little weird. Um, but being able to just kind of compete against those guys, just to get to know that team. And yeah, I think getting into that first AHL game was definitely exciting, and just a cool experience. And then getting that first win in Tucson was a lot of fun as well. And I mean, once you get like that first win, that first experience, and you can always draw back on it going forward.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what were some of like the responsibilities that you had to like balance for being a professional athlete while also serving in the Army? And like, how were you able to like balance it out between playing professional hockey and being in the Army?
Yeah, so I had to. Well, the problem with, I guess, the one challenge I faced that's playing San Jose was basically I'm in this program that it's called the World Class Athlete Program, but it basically allowed me to play professionally. But the goal of the program is to like make the Olympic team. So since it's Olympic based program, that February of 2018 when the Olympics happened, I think I was like fourth or fifth on the roster or something. But at the end of the day, I didn't make the team. So since I didn't make the team, I had to actually go back to the programs like stationed out of Fort Carson here in Colorado Springs. So I had to come back to Colorado Springs and I had to do Army stuff from that point. So basically, I had just get up and leave in February. So that was definitely tough. Not only just leaving the guys, but having to make a kind of a drastic change. Playing professional hockey to just doing normal Army stuff. So that was tough, and then just kind of figuring out just the next steps at that point. So, but while I'm in the program, on a traditional year that's not like an Olympic year, I'm able just to really focus on the hockey aspect of it. And I mean, there might be like some things I need to update on my records and stuff like that throughout the year for the Army, but that's about it. So I'm definitely thankful to not have very many distractions at all, like on a normal year.
Yeah. So like, what was that year that you didn't get to play in a season? It's like, where were you stationed? Like, what would you do during that time?
Yeah, so I was stationed in Fort Carson, which is in Colorado Springs. And during that time, I mean, the Army takes up like a lot of it's a full-time job and then some. So most of my time was spent just working at Fort Carson. And then, I guess at night it was, well, not every night, but I tried to stay as sharp as possible for hockey. So actually in March of 2018, I was like the emergency backup for the Eagles when they were a coast team. So that's kind of funny because I think I saw on their Instagram, it was like exactly 3 years ago since my since my start this past week. So that was kind of funny to look back on. Usually your career progression doesn't bring you from an e-bug to starting for the team. So that was kind of comical. But yeah, really just that year of not playing was just mainly just doing like a full-time job of being in the Army, and then, kind of playing beer league when I could, and trying to stay sharp through that.
Oh yeah, and just like then going into last season, like you were able to go back and play pro hockey. So like, what was it like training in the summer again, and just like really like putting everything into hockey, and then getting and you spent the season with 3 teams. So like, was that like playing for Evansville and the SP, Newfoundland and the Coast, and then getting a shot in Toronto with the Marlies in the AHL?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was getting permission to like actually start training in like September. So I was still doing like probably a year and a half of doing just full-time Army stuff, and then that September I was able to get back into this world-class athlete program and be able to start training again. So it was definitely tough. I mean, especially coming back, like once you don't play for a year and a half, you kind of fall off the face of the earth essentially. So it was definitely difficult at first, kind of building yourself back up and your reputation. You kind of run into issues like even in the SP, it's like coaches and teams don't really want to take you on knowing that you'll probably leave in like 2 weeks after you get there. So it was tough even, getting an SP team at first, but I was definitely thankful for Evansville to kind of get that shot with them. And, I think I was there for maybe 3 weeks, but you kind of needed that step to kind of move on. So I was definitely thankful for them to kind of give me that opportunity. And then going to Newfoundland was, well, it was kind of, at first I was like, that's probably the last team you want to go to just because it's so far from, it's closer to Greenland than like continental United States. So, so from a geographical perspective, it was, I was like, okay, well, you kind of have to take the step in order to, continue in that career progression. But once I got there, I mean, it's an awesome place. The people there are really cool. It's like a great culture and, great hockey community. Especially since they just had Montreal's AHL team there for the longest time. So they still had a great following, and, and then being part of Toronto's organization. I mean, it's a world-class organization. They treat all their teams, amazingly well. So, I think the resources you had there and just the setup was, it was definitely second to none in the Coast. I'm sure it was definitely better than some AHL organizations as well. So it was definitely a nice place to go. And, the coaching staff and the guys there were great. There's some, Atlantic hockey guys you could relate with. And and the team was just amazing. I mean, it's fun to be on teams where, it's the expectations to win every game. So, it's definitely like, I feel like it puts more pressure, but it's also rewarding because it kind of brings the best out of yourself. And I think that's kind of what Toronto does. They kind of give you all the resources you need to succeed, and then it's on you to kind of perform. So, so it's a cool organization to be a part of. And then going from Newfoundland to Toronto, I mean, Toronto is another, basically it's like a step up from every level. So from the Coast, you get treated like an AHL team, you treat like an AHL team. So it's, so just from being treated well and just the resource you're provided, it's, it was a great opportunity. And then, they had some great resources there as well. Their goalie coach, John Elkin, I was able to relate with pretty well. I think we kind of, our mindsets aligned as well. And, they gave me some opportunities right when I got there. So it was definitely fun, kind of be able to experience all three levels, and especially going and seeing Toronto's organization where they so it's just, just from comparison, just be able to compare that to other teams, and just be able to experience it was a great year, and kind of be able to see it all was definitely very, very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So like when you're in Newfoundland, you played 15 games and you went 10-4 with a 1.81 goals against average. Like, how much fun was playing in Newfoundland, and like what made it such a great place to play?
Yeah, even just like, I'd say the crowds were great. Every game you played, there was, they almost packed the house every time. And then we were also, before I got there, they had started like this home winning streak. I think they're at like 8 or 9 by the time I got there. And then we ended up like breaking the ECHL record for like most consecutive home wins. So as it was getting closer to the record, the place got even more and more packed, and there's definitely like an electricity around the team. So I think being able to experience that, and then also just being able to I feel like just around the community, it's like a very unique place to be. You're surrounded by an ocean, and it's like we got snowed into our apartments for like a week and a half, which wasn't ideal, but not many places in the world where that will happen, where it's
New experiences.
Yeah, exactly. It's one you'll definitely remember.
Oh
yeah. There's not many places like Newfoundland.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just like there's so many places where you could play, and you would least expect to play in Newfoundland, and then you play in Newfoundland and you have a great time. Like, that just proves how you got to go in with an open mind, no matter where you're gonna go.
Right.
Yeah. So like, what was it like playing in all three leagues, and the SP to the coast and the AHL? Like, how hard of an adjustment was it to go from each level, and just like getting used to all the shots that you're facing?
Yeah, I think it was definitely challenging. Each league presented its own challenges. I feel like the SP, there's still like good players there, but it's just less structured. So it's almost like a little bit more chaos, I guess. So unexpected things will happen, I guess. So it's kind of, definitely forced you to be patient. So, maybe that's what I got most out of it, was just, kind of being patient, just trying to track and follow the puck as much as possible, just because, random stuff would happen, unexpected things would happen. So just kind of staying on your toes. And then I think every level you go up, it just becomes more structured. So in some ways it gets easier just because it's more predictable, but at the same time, like, the shots get better, things happen a little bit quicker. So, especially like, it definitely forces you as a goalie or a player just to kind of step out of your comfort zone and really just push your limits as well. I know for myself, it's like, really you could sit back in the net a little bit more in college and in the coast, and, be able just to react to shots, and, just trust your positioning and all that, and that'll get the job done. But then, coming up to like the AHL really forced you to kind of be a little bit more aggressive, be on the top of your crease to kind of take away more of the angle, and, kind of challenge guys a little bit more, just because they're able to kind of pick their spots better and be able to hit those more consistently. So, and things happen quicker. So not only are you like further from your nets, being on the top of the crease, but also you have to move a little bit faster, and the puck's moving faster. So you have to, since the puck's going faster, you have to move faster.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of, the biggest takeaways is kind of, you can't just do what you always do, because then you won't be successful. So it's, that's kind of where practice comes in. It's when you really need to push yourself and, step out of your comfort zone and kind of push your limits.
Yeah, for sure. Every step you go up, the game gets quicker, and you gotta be quicker as well. So you just gotta do whatever you can to help yourself get faster and just be able to stay with the guys that are all around you and just drilling shots on you.
Yeah, and it's definitely rewarding. I mean, it forces you to kind of reach your potential as well. If you just kind of stay, in like a lower level, you might not be able to. You might not know what you need to do in order to, kind of get to that next level. But by experiencing it, you kind of figure out, oh, okay, so this is what I need to do. So
Yeah, for sure. So then going into this season a little bit, you started out playing this first part of the season in Utah for the Utah Grizzlies, where you got in 4 games before you head to Colorado, where you are at now. So you played 2 games so far in Colorado. So how's the season going for you and the team? And then what was your experience like in Utah for those 4 games?
yeah, well, in Utah, they have a good staff there as well, good coaching staff, and the guys there are great, and a few of those guys are here now. And then also it's nice because some of the guys I played with in Newfoundland, they continued on to Utah as well, just because with Newfoundland not playing this year, we, there's less teams to choose from. And so we end up having about 5 of us in Utah, which was kind of cool. So talk about that normalcy and that just kind of having that familiarity. So it's kind of cool being able to play with those guys again, just in a different setting. But that was my first time kind of living in Utah for a little bit. So that was a good experience, and kind of just being able to see what it's like on the other side of the mountains. And then kind of coming to Colorado, it's been a great experience so far. Having some of those Utah guys come with, and then I skated with a couple of the guys that were here, like O'Connor and McDonald. I skated with them over the summer, so they were here at first, but no, not anymore. But so it's kind of nice having those guys around, but just being able to kind of just go out every day and just compete against these guys. It's been a great experience. Kind of forces you every day to be on your A game, and just kind of force you to be your best. And that's really all you want. It's just kind of push yourself and kind of see how far you can go, and just trying to reach that potential, I guess.
Yeah, 100% there. And just it's awesome playing games and everything right now. So how hard is this year for playing pro hockey, especially with all the restrictions and everything affecting the season, to where you could have a game canceled in the next day or so, or postponed because of COVID protocols, and just you don't know, it's pretty much a day to day at this point.
Yeah, I think it just kind of goes back to just kind of controlling what you can control and just kind of focusing on those things. So it's definitely been, maybe at first it was a little bit of a distraction, but you kind of get in the rhythm of it, I think. So we get tested like 3 times a week and stuff like that, but it's, you're not allowed to like sit down anywhere on road trips. So there's definitely stuff that's definitely different, but it's just, pro hockey is like unpredictable as it is. Going back to Newfoundland, like we were snowed in for a week and a half, and then the day of a game we had to fly into Reading and then play a game after not practicing for almost 2 weeks. So there's weird stuff that happens, and you just kind of have to go with the flow and just trust your game, and just have fun with it, really.
Yeah, and at least you're playing games, so whenever you get a chance, you got to take the advantage there, and just play your best, and give your team a chance to win every night.
Yeah, that's all you can really do. I can try and score, but I probably wouldn't be as successful as as others.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I got a few more questions for you before we get this thing done with. So do you have any tips for goaltenders looking to get to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think preparation's always been my thing. So I really just try and focus on just kind of pushing myself in practice and kind of seeing, whatever shots I can or any and all shots. So that way, when it gets to a game, I know I've kind of seen those shots and I've saved them before. So it's, you're kind of able to trust in your preparation and, kind of when you get to a game, I think the mental aspect of it's always been interesting to me because I think a lot of guys, they kind of see it as, I think it's just like a perspective thing. So rather than seeing a shot as looking at it as like I hope this doesn't go in, like you can look at it as more of an opportunity. Like, okay, this is a shot, opportunity to add to my mental highlight reel or something like that. Or so kind of looking at it as more of an opportunity rather than something that could as a negative, I guess. So but I think it's really the mental aspect, I think. And then, once you get to a game, I think there's like a ideal level of focus and relaxation you try to achieve. So it's really just, you're never going to be in the same mindset like every game. So it's just kind of doing your best to kind of maintain that balance, whether it's, if you're a little too intense one game, maybe, kind of breathing a little bit more, kind of gets that relaxation. Cause there's always like a level of flow, I guess, to your game. I think, like when you're really feeling it. And then if you're feeling too relaxed, like you're almost sleepy, then, maybe doing some self-talk to get yourself amped up or something.
Do some push-ups on the ice.
Yeah, something to get you more focused and into the game or something. Maybe that's yelling at your teammates or, running out of the net to play some pucks or something just to kind of get more into it. So, so my interest has always been more in the mental aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great tip. So thank you for sharing that. And then what has been your favorite pro hockey moment so far and your favorite moment of being in the Army?
Tough. I mean, I think the pro hockey moments, I feel like Newfoundland's a lot of fun, just kind of getting that, we broke that record for the most consecutive home wins. I think there's a lot of energy around that game. And I think it was also fun playing Newfoundland because I felt like I had a lot of run supports. I knew the guys would score as well. So that definitely helps relieve some pressure. I think kind of getting that final home win to break the record was a lot of fun. And, always getting that first AHL win's fun as well. So, and then I guess Army wise, I would just say like, I don't know, maybe it's just like the West Point experience. Just kind of growing through that and, being able to look back on it and be able to just appreciate everything that you went through in order to get through it, and be able to get through it not only by yourself, but with your teammates as well. And, I think my class started around, it was like 9 people, and then it went down to 4 by the time we graduated. So it was kind of just like sticking it out with a small group. So, so yeah, definitely that West Point experience, just kind of seeing the team develop as well and be able to, feel, I guess, proud in, what you accomplished there.
Yeah, for sure. That's unreal. So my last question for you is, you talked about highlight reels. So like, what has been like the craziest save you've ever had to make?
The craziest save. It's funny. Man, I try not to make crazy saves because that usually means I'm like out of position or I did something wrong. But I made one in like high school. That was like the state. It was like state semifinals. It was like with 5 seconds left or something. I like dove across the crease to make this like stick save, and it was like a 3-2 game, so we like tied it up. So making that save and then going on to win the state championship was a lot of fun. So I think that was, I guess, it was sort of the craziest. I don't know. I mean, when I look back at the highlights of it, I mean, I looked like really awkward in that. I don't know. I was like, nowadays I would just like just slide over and make a pad save, but just kind of looking back at it, and then it's kind of funny to reflect on it. So I guess at the time, that was probably the craziest one.
Yeah, that's awesome. You hate being out of position because those saves, you're out of position, but like those saves make the highlight reels, and like you always have a good laugh at them because you know how out of position you were and that you got very lucky for making that save.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So Parker, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. I want to wish you the best of luck going forward with the season with Colorado, and I look forward to following your career the rest of the way.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Good talking with you.
Yeah, you too.